Uh, just the
There you go. Sorry.
oh, you're good. I guess I can just share this afternoon how it went.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, thanks for your message. That um, it was really helpful, and it was like there's just a lot of thoughts, like with the whole situation, like work and whatever's going on, just like a shit ton of thoughts all coming up at once. So it's kind of overwhelming, I guess, to um, I guess come back to presence, I suppose. But it's just like I just had to give that stuff a little bit of time and space, and your message helped reframe, and so I just sat with it for a little bit. I don't know, listened to it a couple times, sat with it for 20, 30 minutes, and um, given enough space, it started to slow down, and um, you know was able to access a little more presence, and then um, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of felt like the process had to happen. It just had to, just all of this stuff had to come up, had to get its energy out. Like a little kid had to run around until it tired itself out, and then it could sit down on the floor and sit, go to its nap mat, have a
Hmm.
nap, and then it was all good. And and so yeah, that was the other thing of like bringing in the like that victimy mindset that I really didn't want. But yeah, I think leading with authenticity and first of all just being honest, um and coming at it with like a collaborative, like, hey, I've got a lot going on right now and I'd like to just talk through this stuff with you. And that's really all we did. We just went through all the projects I have going on right now. We talked through it, and he even, like, while we were talking about it, he just like pulled up our chat, and like wrote down some notes and sent them to me after we were done. And so I got a good jumping off place for next week whenever I'm back in the office. And yeah, it was all good. Like it was all good. Um, yeah, so not too much more to say. Just really appreciate the support this afternoon.
Yeah.
It made a difference.
Yeah, that stuff will come up to be processed, and you'll have the same, because it's conditioned, it will come back around again to be seen and dealt with and felt and all that. And it'll be less, you know what I mean? It'll be less and less. Or there may be a different flavor of it that's a little bit different. But, you know, what we said earlier today was that you saw it as it was happening, which is the most important part of that step. And then, you didn't have a reaction. You you just sorry, I'm trying to let people in at the same time. Yeah, you just saw it and then you were able to sit with it and let it process and then you know, go to your boss and do that without having a reaction. And the way you talked about it, it seems he appreciated that.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, um, he's a busy guy, so but like I don't know, like he's a pretty genuine guy too. And I didn't get any like bad vibes. And I was like, hey, sorry, that's, I guess we're off work tomorrow. It's a company holiday, so I hated to. It's kind of the end of the day, so I was like, sorry. And he's like, yeah, it's all good. Like, don't worry about it. And I think he meant it. But that's just who he is. Like, he's a helpful guy. So yeah, it was good vibes all around. Um, felt like a good resolution to all of that.
What about your stuff we were talking about Sunday? Since then, you made that recording and then it was like good. What you were talking about, you said it was normal, like an ordinary day, but it was
Hmm.
good and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Um, it's still kind of been like that. It's kind of hard to see in the moment whenever things are just like the way they are and okay. It's kind of like in hindsight where I've noticed that, oh yeah, like it was okay. And so I kind of forget, I guess. Like I don't really notice. But yeah, it's kind of been that way all week. Um, yeah, I'd say it's been that way all week.
Do you think
And
it's because of circumstances, or are the circumstances the same and just the way you're
I think the
looking at them
circumstances are the
different?
same. I think it's just looking at it different. I think it's honestly, I'd say a lot of it has to do with this group. And um, I feel like I'm just immersed in the process a lot more
Mm,
than I have in the past. Like
yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm, I'm, I'm taking the things that we've talked about, you know, doing a little belief work. I'm seeing what other people say. Like I rewatched the Zoom call from Sunday, probably, you know, just like bits and pieces here and there, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, finally like watched through it all again and let those things filter down. And then as people are posting throughout the day, like I'm checking in sometimes. And like Annie posted some stuff today that I thought was really good. I hope we talk about that actually. Um, and so yeah, it's just like just being among this group, being among these people helps me be in the process more. And I feel like that's the difference is I'm not alone, you know. It feels much more relational and constant. And
Did you not have an
also
outlet for this stuff before this?
a little bit, yeah, like I'm like Lisa, I meet with her every week. Like I've done like self-inquiry dyads, like that feels more relational to me. But it's just like a couple times a week. Um, and me and Lisa will text. But like I've never had something anywhere near as immersive as this. Um, you know, not yeah, not many people like that I just keep in contact with who are in this space, you know. So honestly, like this Telegram group has been a huge change for me in the best way.
Yeah. My teacher, the first teacher I had before Angelo, he would always, we worked really closely for 2.5 years together every day, like
Mm, wow.
sending recordings back and forth
Mm,
and emails and videos. Not videos of other, well, some videos of other stuff, but mostly just back and forth of each other. And it was like a pressure cooker, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because he's like asked me at the beginning, he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, you know, I'm sure." And so it was like a pressure cooker. It really was every day. But
yeah.
that's like that momentum is sort of, it's too easy to go back to the conditioned stuff. But if you really keep the pressure on without, it's not torturing yourself. It's just pressure. It's just thinking. It's just keeping it in presence and thinking
Hmm.
about it all the time, and then working with it as it comes up. That's why I did it the way I did it. You know, that's why I wanted to do the Telegram group
Hmm.
because it
I
does.
think
I
that
feel it does do that.
it does help me for sure. Like just knowing that, um, well, it's like a small enough group where we kind of know each other a little bit, and I know, like it's a small enough group where you can know us, right? Like,
Right.
and you remember like things that I've
You
said
remember things
before.
about, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's more personal, and so um, I'm probably not going to be able to fly by under the radar like I could in some other places, which is awesome, and I'm here for it. I love that.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. I like the way you posted today, and it's not too long. 5-10 minutes is not too long. Yeah, I mean, I don't want somebody talking for like 30 minutes, you know what I mean? Just rambling about life. But 5 or 10 minutes about their beliefs, and 5, 10, 15, maybe max out at 15 about their beliefs is fine. You know, that's great. That's exactly what I want. And the reports of how it's going and stuff like that too. And I think that's important.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
thanks.
don't ever feel bad about that at all.
Yeah, definitely like some like resistance or like fear in the moment leading up to it. And I just voiced that, you know, I just said that straight up. But also like I think at some point I recognized that that fear and resistance to speaking was maybe a sign that I should.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. When I first started working with Alyssa, she would talk about the audio, and I'd be like, "This is how me and Angelo did it, and how me and David did it." So I think it'd be a good way to do it. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know about talking on a recorder." And I was like, Just get past it." And then like a week later, you know, we were yapping away, no problem.
Well, say thanks again and pass it on to the next person. Maybe Annie, I already said your name. You can go next.
He volunteered you.
Pass the baton. All right.
That's funny.
Uh, yeah. Um, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts because I just got home. I was running around at work all day. Um, yeah, I think today I was talking about the conceptual ideas I have about awakening and how there was some fear there because I had those experience where those like void experiences where there was just absolute nothingness and there was like an annihilation experience. And so
What does that mean?
it means like, do you remember that thing I talked to you about where it was like I just kind of like disappeared? I was offline, like when nothingness folded into itself. Do you
Was
remember?
it like a disappearance and reappearance immediately?
I don't know because I don't know how long I was gone.
You don't know how long you were gone?
I don't know.
I mean, was it minutes or seconds? Was it you weren't sitting there for a day or
It
nothing,
was it was like during a that'd be funny, right? It was during a retreat. It was during a meditation, so it could have been a minute. It could have been a half an hour. I
right?
honestly don't know. I mean, I've had other experiences where there was just like kind of maybe a quick. I guess if there was like a time limit on it, it was a faster, like just kind of falling into a void. Or I think I talked to you about it maybe like a month or so ago, where I was playing around with sound, and then I
Mm.
disappeared. Like it was like I like Annie disappeared, and it was just like kind of like nothing, like nothingness. And then I like my ego was like, wait a minute, oh shit, and kind of freaked out and like wanted to like grab back on. Um, but that was like that's like the emptiness aspect of things. Like I hear people talk about this like um no self, um no self, but the body's not real, this whole thing isn't real. And these are concepts that like I kind of grabbed onto, but I didn't have I don't have like I don't have experience with. This is so hard to talk about. It's like if I look, if I have an experience that like I'm this body or there's like a center point, okay, and that I'm in the world or seeing the world and having these experiences. But if I look for it, like if I really look for it and look for the lines and the space, like in and outside, I can't find it. Okay, so there is an experience of not being able to find it, but it always seems to reappear again, like this idea that I'm a person, I'm in this body. So it's like I almost have to work to find it, or like kind of also latched onto other people's concepts about it. But like my own experience with it is very different, I think, than what the concepts were.
Yeah. It'll be unique to you, but also it will be it'll be a realization. You know what I mean? Not just an experience. Like it will be when you say something like you said you come in and you grab onto someone else's definition. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously a selfing mechanism trying to reestablish, trying to grab onto something to grab onto. So you have to just not grab when it does that. There just has to
Yeah.
be a seeing that. And like in someone saying when someone says there isn't a body, there isn't a self, that's sort of like an extreme view. In my view, it's an extreme view because you see there's no self, but then there is a self appearing. There's just no identification with a separate self. So if you say there is no self, that's just a thought. If you say there is a self, that is also a thought. So the middle way would be there's an appearance of a self, but there's no separate self. You know what I mean? If somebody says there's no self, there's no such thing as a self, that they're grabbing onto a concept about no self and believing it instead of seeing it directly in the middle way. There's no need to go that far.
Well, and that's to me like okay, just in looking at this last couple days, that's like one side of duality almost like, and the other side like would be there's fullness here. It never ends. Things are just, it's like I could look at it and think it ends, and then I walk around the corner and there's more. It's like things just appear and it just never stops. So there's fullness, complete fullness
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Just do a very simple thing. Just do a
Okay.
sound. You can't locate sound. You don't know where it starts. You don't know when it ends. Not really. You can't say a moment where it starts and when it ends. So it's empty. It is appearance, but it's not a solid thing, separate thing appearing. But you can't say that it's not full because when you hear it, it's there. It appears and it's vibrant and it's, you know, alive and full of a lot of miraculousness, and but you can't grab onto it. You can't locate it. You can't say where it is. Same with a sensation or a thought or anything else. So it is appearing, vividly appearing. You know what I mean? It's like the
No,
rainbow
I
analogy.
do. I do. And I do play around with it. It's just that I think that I guess I'm just kind of looking to see what is actually here. And right now a lot of it does seem like experience. It's an experience. It's not necessarily a realization. It's an experience. Like if I can't find sound and I don't know.
Is it experience or is it experiencing? Is an experience like a noun, like something solid that's happening? Can you pinpoint it?
Well,
Is there
this is
like a now that you can pinpoint and say this is now? As soon as you say this is now, it's gone, right?
hmm
So is there actually a now, or is that just another concept to hold on to?
well, I guess this is the kind of stuff I'm playing around with
Yeah.
like it's and I wish I could give you a more definitive answer, but I can't because
No, I
it
don't want you to.
yeah.
That's not my point. My point is when you get to that part of it and you're looking at it, anything I say, like, oh, there's no self, it's going to be an extreme view. It's going to be a conceptual thing about something that's not conceptual. And that's why actual no self realization or anata is not something you can talk about in a way that's going to satisfy someone. You know what I mean? They
No,
have to see it. They have to go there and they have to be there and see it. And then you wouldn't need an explanation yourself anymore from
and I
anybody.
don't, and it's there's a lot of I don't know because I honestly don't understand it with the mind. So it's like
Good.
if I'm playing
That's
around
where you
with
that's where you want to be. You shouldn't even keep trying to figure it out with the mind.
no, but it's like
Yeah.
but the mind still tries. I mean,
Yeah.
that's I'm really looking at this stuff. So it's like in like it would be really nice if it didn't try, but the mind is continues to try. So it's
But when the mind tries, what is that?
like like if I was playing around with space the
Hmm.
other day, it was like you had prompted something in one of your Zen writings, maybe like you had maybe it wasn't you that prompted it, but in one of them it had asked some questions about appearances in this. I guess they use the word space or emptiness, maybe. So I was playing around with that, and then it was like I'm conceptualizing it right now because I need to communicate it. Okay, but it was like a tree was just like kind of floating in this space. Like I've always thought they were just kind of a solid thing, but it was like an appearance, and it was like this miraculous appearance. Like everything about it was a masterpiece. It was like the way the bark was and the leaves. It was such a it was so miraculous. Like
That's luminosity. Yeah.
but
That's
it wasn't like I could like even talking about it right now makes it sound kind of cheap or something, you know, because it's like
yeah, I know what you mean. I know.
yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you
Um.
mean.
So, but it's not like I'm figuring out the difference between like what has been programmed in here and what has been like all these concepts. I've been doing this a long time, so I've developed a lot of concepts about what this is supposed to look like and beliefs around it. And so that little box was keeping me from actually seeing what is here right now because I was trying to understand it with the mind, and the mind wants to conceptualize it essentially. So once that
But when you saw the miraculousness of that object, did you need tree to mean anything? Or was it
No,
just
it was
vividly appearing?
honestly because when I looked at it, it didn't make sense. Like I couldn't even it fucking blows my mind. Like how is it even here? Like how is it even like like
And if you really look at it, can you locate it?
that I'm still playing around with.
Mhm.
Like there's still that this is why I'm like I need to be so honest about it because there's still a part that is like I'm witnessing this, like I'm seeing this. And so there's that separation distance. You know what I mean? Like there's a distance that is created that isn't conceptually I could say yes, I hear what you're saying, but is that my experience? No, not completely.
Right.
Still witnessing it.
Yeah. Well, that's why Angela always points to the Bayou Sutta in the scene, just a scene, because it's literal. In the scene, it's only the scene. Like there's no separation between awareness and the tree at all. So if there is, there's something being referred back to here. If
Mm-hmm.
that drops, then like that doesn't mean anything anymore. Like non-dually, it doesn't mean anything to say like in the herd just start. That's what happened with the toilets and the sound at the retreat when I saw that and I saw the mind creating the extra after it came, and then I noticed what it was doing, and then it did it again. And it's like I got lucky that the toilets flushed repeatedly because it did it again and again, and I saw it again, and then finally it dropped, and then it was so obvious and so um, perfectly timed. Like, of course, the toilets were going to flush 18 times or whatever. It was like, but when that fell away, then it was just the toilets flushing, and there wasn't a Tony listening. And that's what you need to see now, right? You need to get like the I posted it's been a while, I think, but I posted the stuff from Awakening to Reality that he wrote out as the sentences to look at. And it's like there's no hearer, just hearing or something like that.
Did you post it today?
No, no, no.
Oh,
I've posted it 2 or 3 times, but it's been a while. It's just little short sentences you can practice with when you look at things as you're going about your day. I'll find it and I got it and I'll post it again.
okay.
But
Yeah,
it's
'cause
just it's just the short sentence. They mean different things. Like one is about uh what is it? I can't remember now. I don't know. I have to find that too, but I'll find it.
but it's like you know what you're saying about the toilets or like this is what I need to see. It's like I also there's frustration here, but I'm not it's just here, but because I realize there's really not anything to be done. There's nothing I can do except for just look.
Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, passively. Can't make anything happen because it's already the case.
Hmm.
So it's more like letting the shields down, letting the grasping down, not
Yeah.
by force, but by seeing, by getting used to it, by being like okay with that. And then it drops by itself whenever it drops.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
was investigating during that retreat and I was investigating, I was looking very intently. I was very concentrated because it was like the fifth or sixth day, but I wasn't trying to get anywhere. There was no expectations. There have been tons of expectations before in the past, but I'd practiced so much that I had learned what the mind would do and how it would grab. And I didn't practice that by making something happen. I just practiced it by looking again and again and again and again and again at what the mind was doing and realizing, oh, it's trying to do something. And seeing that made the non-grasping less and less and just realizing this reality. And it's just, soaking. I can't tell you how many times I read those sentences and practiced those sentences. I mean, I don't even know, thousands and thousands of times. It
The
was
one.
like the ones I was talking about just a minute ago. I mean, I did
Okay.
other stuff too, but I've posted the in the scene just seen many times in the group because it's a really important one. And the one that I posted, I need to post that one again because it's really good. I've given it to Alyssa 1,000 times too to relook and be like, this is important, relook at it, so she does. But um, yeah, it's the mind gives up on itself The mind gives up trying to make something happen, and then it is seen what is always the case, what's always there, once the mind gives up on itself. However long that takes, however that happens, I don't know, but that's what it is, That's what you're doing right now. And that's where the frustration comes from. Because the mind is there's some subtle thought in there saying, okay, I've done all this stuff. I'm not
Hmm.
doing anything, so now why don't I see something?
Hmm.
And that's the pull. That's the grasp that
Yeah.
you have to let go of. And it's like you have to be like I ended up finally being just with okay with if it takes a million lifetimes, it does. Because
Yeah.
I can't make this happen. And that was the beating in my head against the wall. And I had to be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, if you're not okay with the long haul, then you're always going to stay in the part of I need to make something happen because I so it'll happen now. And
Right.
that's the twist. That's the bind. That's the double bind. That's the double bind of seeking.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, unfortunately I do.
But the thing about it is it's like, oh, it'll take a million lifetimes or it'll take all these. It's like that's not really what it's about. It's more a mental. It's like Adyashanti before I said, you don't have to die, but you have to be willing to, which is the same thing.
Hmm.
It's like that. It's like the mind just has to give up on itself. And they in Buddhist terms they'll say things like you a million lifetimes that's just their version of saying 10,000 things. A long time, a lot of stuff. 10,000 things. That's what they say, the Tao is the 10,000 things. It's really a trillion things or whatever, but they say that as just a inference to a lot. Is
Okay.
what they mean.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Tony,
it's
can I make a suggestion?
sure.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
Uh,
exactly what Annie was talking about, and you were saying that you have some stuff to post. Another good one might be to post the one I really like that cue. Uh, don't do double work.
yeah, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that one in
Hmm.
terms of in scene, just a scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
really like that if used gently. Like I think at first um, I really like tried to pound through with that. And relaxation is so key, right? In doing
Hmm.
those practices.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll post that one too. I'll find it. I know where it is. I just have to find it in the midst of a thousand other ones, but I know where it is.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Mhm. You don't seem too satisfied with that answer.
Are you
Yeah, you. You're still on my screen, so
I need to explore it for myself.
okay.
No,
All right.
I'm just looking at how like it's like I trust you. Um, but like you'll say something or anybody like Angelo or somebody will say something and I'm like, yeah, that's it. But it's not experiential, right?
No.
It's so I
That's a grabbiness as well. It feels right. It feels good. So you're like, oh yeah, that's it. But
yeah.
what it actually is already alive, and that pointing, if you grab onto the pointing itself, is back into conceptual land. That is part of the game though, to grab and notice and get used to that concept, and then you get tired, it gets enough, and it lets go of itself. And then you see it's like Angelo says, simply always awake. You are already awake. So there's no lifetimes to get through to get, it's that these filters are running for a good reason. And wanting to look at these things means the filters need to be seen, not dealt with, but seen.
Hmm.
And they fall away by themselves. The default mode network shuts down, whatever way anybody wants to put it. But that's what it is.
Yeah, it just seems like I said before, like nothing could really be done except for just like looking because
That's why I always say clear seeing. That's why I'm so adamant about it because that's what I discovered. I discovered it in everything that I did. And like Vipassana means clear seeing. So it's right there out in the open the whole time. But my actual seeing of it was, oh, all the efforting all the making something happen and all the views in my mind, the view of Annie sitting down to meditate, to discover something is already the wrong view. It already is an expectation layered over reality itself. So that needs to be seen, and it needs to be seen as many times as it needs to be seen for the expectations to drop and go, oh, I'm trying to make something happen, and that is the block. That's the obstacle.
Yeah.
And that's conceptual. But that's like a view. So that's when I talk about the beliefs, and then I talk about the assumptions, because there's an assumed view there when somebody sits, almost everybody, when somebody sits down to meditate, and I did it too for all them years. When someone sits down to meditate, there is an assumed view automatically without even being considered. Okay, I'm going to practice today for an hour, 2 hours. I'm going to go to retreat and I'm going to sit for 8 hours. And the entire time, it's coming from that view of self of I'm going to make this happen or I'm going to do this to get something. And that is the very glasses that's on that's blocking the view that's already there. Now,
Yeah.
what can you do about it? You can't make yourself not have the view because that's also efforting. So you have to just see the view being applied and realizing it's like wearing it down. It's like dissolving, dissolving the views.
Yeah. It's weird because it's always like when I'm looking at it, the thoughts and maybe beliefs, which are thoughts, but it's constructing itself always with this perspective from right here, from the center point. Like I feel this, I think that, I see this, and it's always constructing something, and it's constructing me, this idea of me.
Mhm.
And
But the center point itself is a thought.
well, yes, I believe it, but I need to like, you
Yeah.
know,
But I mean, that's why you say it's always coming from the center because there's a thought, the central I thought, the identification with the I thought, and then all the other thoughts follow it as also an identification or a description of like I am a father or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm exploring the center point because that feels really strong for me. As I said, even if I'm having these experiential, like absolute wonder of like, holy shit, like what the fuck is all this? But it seems like it's, as I said, I'm just repeating myself, but it seems like it's coming from from the Annie's center point. And and I could see the separation. Like I could see and feel the separation that is concocted. But
So instead of looking from the center point, look at the next time you're looking at that miraculous tree, then just say, where's the line between awareness and the tree?
okay.
Where's that line exactly in raw direct experience in the space between the supposed here and there? Where does here become there? And look for that line where that happens and just keep looking there. And you could also say, put your attention out there on the tree as much as you can, and then say, as a practice, like, what is being referred to
Hmm.
that's separate from the tree or separate from that? And then look there right then and there, and not
Okay.
think about it.
Okay.
Those are good practices for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Me, I would have all kinds of non-dual visual experiences before the retreat. I would have these at home. I would practice out back here, and I would sit, and I had this giant bush tree in my back area, and then behind that, I would have the brick wall of my patio, the tall brick wall, and I would be sitting, and I'd be looking at the tree, and what would happen is when I was doing that practice, and what would happen is this would go away and the tree would go away.
Mhm.
And what would happen then is just one arising appearance would, and I don't mean that too literally, like they would go down and then this would raise up. I mean, it was simultaneously, it was a dissolving of both to see that the one thing was the only thing appearing and there was no space, no distance. But to me, the way I would describe it is the original tree that I was looking at that seemed separate and the me that was here looking at it both went away. And then it was just a rising of just the scene, just the tree, just the form, shapes, and colors of the tree, and there was no distance. And I would have that experience a ton. And, one night at work, I was working on my computer and it was really late at night. It was like 4 in the morning and I was exhausted. And I think because I was still awake and I was just sitting there chilling. I wasn't even practicing. I was taking a break from a very busy part of my work night. And I was just sitting there like this and I just relaxed. And all of this just disappeared. And it was literally just a computer. That was the first time it ever happened as an experience. And it was like, whoa, and like I was stunned for like 10 seconds and I couldn't move.
Mm.
I couldn't do anything. And I dropped my pen fell out of my hand on the floor because I was like this. And that made me that broke it. And then
Mm.
I couldn't get it back for like that never happened again for like a year and a half.
And you weren't even trying.
Not at that time I was, but I was practicing all the time though.
Yeah.
I just wasn't practicing at that moment.
Right. Yeah.
But I've had so many things with meditation. And that was actually one of the things that helped me about meditation was I started to use the view of nothing's going to happen during meditation. This is just I like I'm building something here to see later. It's like I was putting it in the future, but it was helping me get rid of the expectation of I'm going to sit down and today something's going to happen when I sit.
Yeah. Like Alyssa said, like relaxation is really important. I find that
Can I
true.
make a comment?
Throughout the whole process, relaxation is so important.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
love to make a comment about that because when Alyssa said relaxation, it just rings such a huge bell in me. And just now, Tony, when you said it, because for me, the biggest thing that, as I look back on different stages, is that there was a lot of relaxation that came prior to what felt like the next insight. It was kind of like
Yeah.
either a little bit of giving up or a little bit of like, I'm sick and tired, or like you said, you're just exhausted and you're not even thinking about it. So there's all the
Mhm.
guarding, all the barriers are down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's non-grasping. The mind gives up on itself and the grasping stops. It doesn't mean Annie like stops. Annie doesn't give up because Annie wasn't never there. But the conditions of grasping relax. And you can kind of induce that in some ways by like one thing I used to do is I would meditate and then I would ask myself periodically, am I meditating or am I trying to meditate?
Mhm.
And I would immediately notice, oh, I was trying to meditate for sure. I was like concentrate. I used to do concentration, and I would like literally tense my jaw up, and I'm like, doing? It's like, what are you doing? I would notice like I would become aware that I was efforting like hell to try to concentrate instead of like, oh, and then it's just like releasing tension, just relaxing the tension. And I did that a million times. And
Tony,
when
that's
by the time that happened, I had just by the time the retreat, when it did happen, I had had no expectations of it happening for many, many months at that point. I had already just like, oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep doing it because I'm dedicated to do it.
Yeah.
yeah, Tony, that's what happened to me just last week when I was puking for 5 hours in the middle of the night, where there was a moment at the very end of it where it's the mind. I give up.
Yeah.
And
The mind says I give up as a thought.
I can't, yeah, it's definitely was a thought. Like I can't keep trying. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely like a surrender. It's a surrender.
Alyssa sent me one of David's things he wrote. It says our attention is being pulled like Velcro to one primary yet ultimately minor in capacity aspect of the sense field of the screen. Some of my thoughts. Thoughts and feelings drawn to this noise at the exclusion of nearly all else. In order to regain a more balanced view, one must see why and how that Velcro is latched in order to begin to ease away from its continual pull and thus broaden the view. This is done by constantly looking and seeing the pull in action, and conversely, then disengaging, relaxing, loosening up, and broadening perspective in reaction to, and eventually in the face of that continual pull. So,
And that's why when you were talking about meditation, that's why and not having an expectation that this time when I sit down, I'm gonna meditate. It's practice. It's practice.
mhm,
Just practicing.
mhm, yeah.
And I feel like for me, the practice has become even just post puke is like walking around all the time and just in every conversation, like this is meditation.
It
And
is
I can,
reality.
yeah, exactly.
You are reality all the time, whether you're sitting down to practice. Practice is an overlay because there's no one
Yeah.
actually there to practice. It is a view that's being taken. It is a lens that reality's putting on right then. But in reality, the reality is resting the whole time, or it's just sitting, and thoughts and feelings and everything's doing what it all conditions are flowing no matter what, whether you're walking around working or you're sitting in a dedicated practice. But the view of I am the one sitting as a dedicated practice is the blinder. It is the other lens that is on there to make you think that, you're doing it.
We've talked so many times about there being still seeming to be some level of cooperation, at least of like opting in to sit and practice, say, because if you're doing a concentration practice or you're doing a sense practice or whatever the case may be, y- the idea that you're greasing the wheels or enhancing conditions so that when you do, like when I walk out of here and I'm washing dishes or have an interaction and there's an opportunity for reactivity, and instead there's the conditions are such that there's more of a chance I'm going to catch um, what's happening in the moment and pause and whatever, have a different experience.
Hmm.
That level of something about opting in and cooperation, there still seems to be some amount of availing oneself, like participating in Telegram or being willing to step out and do something you haven't done before.
And all the words, all the practices, all the words are all just pointings to something that can't be pointed at into with the mind. So, like David used to say, right up until the very second that you have the realization that there's nothing else here, you're going to think you're a person. You're going to think you're a person doing things. So the pointings are to massage the personal view to soften. So then you would say, like you said, show up for meditation and sit and practice, but soft. I used to say to her all the time, soft effort. It's not trying to control, but it is participating. So it's like life, reality will not, well, reality wants you to dance, but it won't let you lead. But see, those are just phrases to point to get you to relax and then go, okay, I will let reality lead. But that's really bullshit. It's not true, but it's used as a tool to get the mind to relax enough to then maybe see that there's only one thing happening. But everything that Angelo, anything that anybody says up until the point that that's seen is in a way a manipulation to get your mind to relax. I mean, all the non-dual practices, everything I just told Annie is a manipulation because in truth there is no separation already. But you say these things, so it's not malicious manipulation. It's just practicing. It's just pointing. That's why it's called pointing because it points at something that you can't. It's pointing at something that's back here, but you use what you got as tools until it's seen directly. And right up until the moment it's seen, you'll believe you're a person in the world doing things. So you might as well act like it in the best way while also trying to soften that view as much as you can. And that's the what's the frustrating as hell part about it. Because the mind does not remotely want that to happen. And that's why people say, oh, it dissolve the ego. It doesn't want to die. Because it's that, yeah, but it's not real. It's not a real thing that doesn't want to die. It is a set of conditions that don't want to be broken, I guess you could say. So when you're working on stuff, whether you're practicing or you're doing a full blown meditation or you're practicing in the world, these kind of reminders. It is repetition, but it's not repetition to get somewhere. It's repetition to chip away the statue to reveal what's underneath the whole time. It's not to chip away at a, you're not digging yourself out of a hole. You're not doing that, you know? Hmm. Y'all are some dedicated motherfuckers. It's like I was. It's so ironic because it is in a way what it takes. It is a lot of effort, but it's not effort to get somewhere. It's effort to see. Because if somebody doesn't want to see, they don't want to see. It doesn't mean they're going anywhere. They just don't want to see. If I was when I was talking to Sam about his dad's wedding the other day, if he just said yeah but me a whole lot, what good would that have done him? He would have refused to see. But instead of he is dedicated to seeing, it's dedication to seeing, not making something happen. And
You know, and
because go ahead.
I'll say something to that, which is like what I notice are the thought patterns that keep coming back around it. So the more I see it, it's hard to unsee it.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's the point. Yeah. You cannot what and this that's the thing about this. I used to tell Alyssa too. You will have new baselines
mm,
that you new footholds and baselines that you cannot go back below because it's too much suffering then. You know what I mean?
yeah, it feels very clearly seen. Like when you shook me, like I had this whole victim mentality. It's very like a long story that's been around. I'm a victim of this man. I'm a victim of this church. I'm a victim of my parents. I'm a victim of this and this. And that really shook it.
Yeah.
And then I've been having it come at me in different ways in different conversations people call, and I can hear and see the thoughts that come up around the story again. But it's very hard to get shaken out of that baseline, to use your terms. They're like, whoa, the story's coming back up. Now I see the desire to tell that story, or that desire to share that victim narrative or whatever that is. But now it's been seen. And now, so it's like reality keeps showing it to me, different people coming at me, like a Mormon girl today coming and talking to me, and I'm like, oh man. Last person I want to talk to is a Mormon girl, but then I just had to kind of sit there and okay, there, I can see that desire to kind of share that victim narrative again. And so I could, so it's just interesting to see it come around, but it's losing momentum.
But also those types of things are gifts too, because you have compassion for that person, but you also use it for your own, like, oh, what am I doing that's like that? Or
Exactly.
how am I still doing that in whatever way I'm doing it?
That's what I mean. It was like, oh gosh, it's like there's that tendency to tell the story. I had total compassion for her. And like, wow, that wants to come up again.
One of the things, one of the reasons too I thought about when people started asking me to help is that I got kind of I remember being a little irritated at a certain point when I'd had some realizations like, why the fuck didn't anybody point to me in these certain ways? It would have saved me a whole hell of a lot of time. Even David, the first, he said things to me in a lot of ways, and I know that they do things in roundabout ways to try to guide. But to me, it was like either that or I was too blind to see. I mean, I knew about Vipassana a long time ago, and I'd read the word clear seeing and all this kind of shit. But all these most of the texts they don't iterate it. They don't reiterate how important the actual seeing part of it is. And I was like, I'm fucking doing that. If I start talking to people, I'm gonna hammer it in the ground because it's so easy to get right back into the doing part of it. And I think that's what 98% of spiritual seekers are. They're just doing their whole lives. And all the monks who sit in the monasteries and they meditate and they give their whole lives to this and they stare at the wall, always from the view of I'm the monk at meditating staring at the wall. And it's like, damn, that's crazy. So, and then the part I talk about with the algorithm, because I thought, well, while you're looking at the self sense that's not actually there, you might as well look at the rest of your shit too, because it's all intertwined. It's the
Hmm.
web of your experience. So you might as well be looking at it. And then if the big shoe drops, it does. And if it doesn't for a while and long, at least you're freeing yourself from certain limitations of past and whatever, like you're doing with your dad and all that other stuff. I mean, once you've seen certain things too about yourself and live for more authenticity, you couldn't go marry a woman again, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just not happening. It's just there's
No,
no
no
go
way.
there. No
Yeah,
way. You couldn't even force yourself, even probably even at gunpoint. You could be like, I
yeah.
just can't do that. Because if you see a certain thing and you're authentic about it, that authenticity cannot be destroyed. It can't be put back in the box.
And I do feel like, to use your terms, that this is like tent poles falling, and that at some point the self will completely fall. I feel that happening, you know, that it's like there's clusters of beliefs that have a lot of energy and a lot of power around them. And like
Mhm.
as each one is seen and kind of falling,
But what's
yeah,
funny about that is when you see it, you realize that it doesn't have any power.
yeah,
And it literally never did.
yeah.
It is your belief
Mm,
in it, is your attention
mm,
to it that makes it seem like it's solidified and has a lot of power,
mm.
but it doesn't, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense because
So
it
that's like my
evaporates.
formula for helping people. I talk about the algorithm and I talk about the other thing. And between those two, it seems to be effective for a lot of people anyway. Not everybody, but
Helping me a lot.
yeah. But this, I guess that's how it goes. Like teachers roll on and somebody learns something, they tell somebody that I didn't tell people, and they go, "Oh, you should have told them this." It's nobody's fault. It's just the way it goes, I guess. But the thing
Definitely.
that I wrote to you today is super important.
Is that the log thing, the fire, that
Before
stuff?
that, the first thing I
Yeah,
wrote, the longer paragraph
yeah, yeah. I'm
about
trying to
seeing
remember.
the stuff you were talking about seeing and all that.
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
I think that's super important for
All
people to
right.
know and to practice and to take in for real and not just read it once and skip over it. It's like repeat. I can't. Some of the stuff that I've posted, I'll post that thing that I told Annie about and what Alyssa said, and then I'll also post. The one that I've told you to look at a million times, Alyssa. That one paragraph, long paragraph of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll post that.
I have that ready too if you want me to just send it to
You
you.
can post it, yeah, if you want to. I have to go find it. If you already have it, go ahead.
I'll send it to you to make sure there's a couple of them. So I
Yeah, yeah.
was going to say one other thing just in response to what Sam said about um, catching those the belief in the story or your example of the victim narrative coming up and noticing it coming up and just in a separate experience today talking to somebody else and um, I guess it just reminds me um, how much compassion and patience has been required for stuff like that because you think this again, when it comes
Mm,
back around, and it does. And when you were talking, it reminds me of two phrases that are helpful to me when those things do come around. Uh, to be utilized. It's like to perpetuate the narrative, to perpetuate the story some more because it's had a purpose. Like you used it for
mm,
a certain purpose. It was probably a helpful protection. You understood something better about your place in the world and all that. But today, though, now that you have seen that, like one of the two phrases help me sometimes, which are uh, Tony has said to me in the harsh words, "So what? So what? Like so
mm,
what?" And then the other one is like when to if I am going to perpetuate it or I'm thinking about like or I'm kind of catching myself wanting to lean into this story of how hard this situation is or whatever. It's like, to what end? What does that get me today?
mm,
You know what I mean? What does it cost and what does it achieve? And all of that happens in presence and in clear seeing and in pausing before just going with the programming of the algorithm that was already there. So all that is like is great. You know, even though you have to feel it and do it again and again and again and again and again, until you don't. But
Mhm.
And
I love it.
the clear seeing part of it too is noticing your judgments.
Mm.
Because all the judgments that you have against yourself, especially, and really others, but mainly yourself for this work, is the judgments are slingshots into further thought identification. Every time you judge yourself for not doing it right, or not doing
Mm.
enough, or not being whatever, you are, it's like a boomerang right into the next thought reflection. So if you catch a judgment, a big practice is to catch all your judgments against yourself, and you catch them as they happen, and then you see clearly how they make it worse. And when you see clearly how it makes it worse, and you look around you look around at that you feel around for that. You inquire into that. You have a judgment of like, oh, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this good enough. Kara, I'm talking about you right now. You say, I'm not doing this good enough. And you realize that. You catch it. That's the magic trick. You're catching the magic trick of yourself saying that. And then there's compassion, but more than compassion, there's relaxation. So if you catch a judgment and you see it and it makes you relax when you see it, that's think about how much less suffering you have even without a realization from just catching the judgment and see what it is. And then that's ungrasping. Oh, judgment is making this worse. This is obvious. It's not doing, and you like look around in that, feel around in that area. What does judgment get me? Has it ever gotten me good things about myself? If I do this as a thought and I have a judgment about myself, does it actually make the situation better? If I do something shitty at work and I go, shitty, does that judgment make the shitty thing less shitty at work or does it make it more shitty? But if you make that a practice, a pivotal part of your practice is catching the judgments, and then you relax on the judgments, you'll feel the entire web relax. And that's relaxation. That's relaxing the mind because you either beat your head against the wall until your mind gives up and just says, oh, or you massage it and you teach it how to relax by seeing, not making it do anything. Making it do something is like, you know, trying to make a tiger do something. It's like, but relaxing it, put some relaxing music on, and the tiger lays down in the sun and starts chilling. It's like that's what the mind is like. You make it relax by looking at what's not making it relax. And then it relaxes. Less grasping, more freedom. Ryan, I bet you were doing some version of that this week after the Zoom in your house and your thing because things did not doesn't mean things get special, but the non-grasping around your experience in whatever form it takes, non-judgment being one of them. And of course, you notice how not judging other people in the world and whatever's going on, you know what I mean, can make you not grasp onto anything that's happening outside in the world. Look at all the people fighting against Donald Trump and people who are for him, and they're fighting. They're going on city blocks and they're battling each other. Why? What are they doing? They're performing an identity for themselves in front of everyone else. And all the while, Donald Trump doesn't care. You think that affects him at all? Didn't affect Biden when people were doing it to him. You know what I mean? It's like crazy making. All that grasping, all that. You remember when years back when the Charlottesville thing happened near me? It's not far from me. It's like those 100 white supremacist KKK guys wanted to march. They got a permit to march through the street. And they were going to do a little parade and march. It was going to be like 30 minutes or less. And they were going to hold their little signs. There was like 100 or less of them. All these Antifa people, all these other people from the other side showed up to fight against them and say it was not cool for them to do that. And it turned into a fucking massacre and a riot and a bunch of people died. If those people had just eating their food and let the guys march down the street behind them. They'd have been done in a half hour. No power there. Attention gave them power. If there was no attention on them, no grasping, nothing. They would have petered right through the city and gone back home, and nobody would have paid them any mind. It would have been a limp dick situation. But because everybody showed up and wanted to battle, now you got a gigantic battle going on, and innocent people died. You know what I mean? It's like that's what do you think? You see this stuff plays out in the world is just the mind playing out in the world. It's other people's algorithm playing out in the world on the world stage. Gigantic algorithms battling. You know, it's just like crazy to me to see that stuff. But we're not worried about the world. We're worried about ourselves and our own environment. If Ryan wakes up, his household will be very peaceful, not so much better. And even if he doesn't have a full blown realization yet, the more he sees his processes and relaxes, the better it'll get. Jack, are you awake? Oh, I'm just fucking with you. You look like you was asleep. Oh, anyway.
The poor guy doesn't have an unmute button. You talk to him.
Oh, that's right. I forget. He can't get the thing unmuted. Oh man.
It's the crack on his phone. He can't get it.
Is that what it is? That's right. That's right. Don't worry about it, Jack. You're awake. That's all that matters.
We can all say whatever we want to, Jack. There'll be no bullshit flying back.
Anybody else want to say anything before we go?
In general, I think it's *6 to unmute if you're on a phone and you're on Zoom. I think you can press *6, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, I got it.
Alyssa has solved the case.
How's everyone doing? Sorry, yeah, it was a long day of school that's been making me. I'm not used to sitting in class for 8 hours, and it's almost more tiring than just working for 8 hours.
How much school do you have left?
6 more weeks.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's like a year of work, 6 weeks of school. But it's good. Makes it easier to come home and just sit down and relax. My brain's so tired, like it doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just sit in this chair, usually doze off for a bit, but then I just keep sitting in the chair.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You can do some good sensation practice like that when your mind is worn out.
Yeah, no, I was lying in bed. I almost forgot to come to the Zoom meeting, and I was just having a real nice moment of it's just like after being really stressed out and feeling really dumb and wondering what I'm doing in school, I just was feeling really grateful and had like a nice cry and a big shake. I was like, oh, perfect. I just had to get tired enough.
Are
The key for
you
me is
alone
just getting
again now?
tired enough. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's back in Australia.
Oh wow, Australia. That's a ways.
Yeah. 30-hour mission. But we're gonna meet up in Chiang Mai when I'm done school for a bit. So I'm looking into maybe sitting in a monastery for like 10 days before she comes because there's a bunch there. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll just go sit in the countryside. Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's about it for me.
Cool.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. Anybody else got to say anything?
I was going to ask you, Tony. I don't know if we ever talked about it.
Lisa, your volume's kind of low the whole time. Does anybody else hear that?
I'm sorry. Maybe
No, that's okay. I turned you way up before, and then when Annie started talking, it like blasted my ears because I had the volume all the way up.
I was sitting way back on my phone. Is it better now?
A little bit. Let me just turn my volume
I'll
up.
speak up.
That's good.
I don't know if you've ever talked about it because I've never been to one of your Zoom meetings. I'm glad to make it. It's a much easier time for me. Some time ago, I heard you talking about, and I don't even know if it was with this group or whatever, but you did some kind of a practice where you went in a closet with a blindfold. And anyway, if you would just briefly talk about that a little bit and what you feel, if anything, it accomplished? I found it kind of fascinating, and I never have heard any more details about it.
Yeah, I sat in this closet that I'm in right now. It has no windows.
That's a closet.
Yeah, it is a closet.
Okay.
Yep. I would sit in here with a chair, and there's nothing. There was nothing else in here at the time, and I would sit in here, and I would put a gun range headphones on that would totally muffle any sounds, and then I would put eye mask on to make it more dark. And I would literally. That's when I was just working with thought, and I did that for like 8 months, like just straight. That was my practice. I was like, I'm gonna look at thoughts. I'm gonna look at exactly what they're made of, and I would sit there for an hour and a half, and it would most of the time it would zip by really fast because I got. I mean, it's a lot of concentration. I did a lot of concentration practice. Concentration is important. It helps with looking, but you can build concentration other ways. But the first year of my meditation, when I learned how to meditate, I did nothing but breath at the nose concentration with no. The teacher wouldn't allow me to do any kind of insight work at all, just breath at the nose. And I would see that the breath was made of many little breaths after a while. It like reality would literally start to break into pieces. Those sensations would break into smaller sensations. Sound waves do that too. If you ever listen to something buzzing, like a refrigerator buzz, or something you can really get like a computer buzz, you really can sit with that for a long time, you really go into it, you'll notice it's several different sounds that sounds like one sound. And yeah, so I did that in here and I put the mask on and I would just watch and I would see the different versions of thoughts. And it used to drive me crazy because I would want music. I would have music thoughts come up and everything else would be silent, but the music would, I'd be hearing song repeat. And I used to get pissed off. I get frustrated, like, shut up so I can look at the thoughts. And I was like, oh, it is a thought. It's like, you know what I mean? But that's what it did. I fooled myself like that. That's what the view is. I would have a view of that. Like the music thoughts need to shut up so I can look at the real thoughts. It was
Did you ever
silly.
get interrupted by visuals? Like, if I black myself out, I start having all kind of fucking like starbursts and all kind of
Yeah.
dramatic kind of stuff happening in the visual field.
The Zen would call that Makyo, but it's really just thoughts.
Hmm,
Those
like,
are thoughts too. They're just image
it's
thoughts.
just an energy, an image thought. Sure. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah. Oh, did you have much of that, or did that
Oh,
go?
sure. Oh, sure. Yeah, it would go crazy. And I would have thoughts about I would start to see thoughts that were there that I didn't even know that would be there as a normal thought. Like random images would and the thoughts would do different things. They would sprinkle across like this. Some thoughts would come like they would just show up like this and like whoosh, and then disappear. Some would form real slow, and some would just blink.
Interesting.
Like there's all kinds of different things.
Did it feel useful in the long run?
Well, there's really no way to know other than I saw them real clearly. You know what I'm saying? So I don't
There you
know.
go.
I didn't have any realizations from that
Yeah,
other
but
than
see
you
them.
you have all kinds of little insights and stuff, but
Sure.
but
See,
you never
see.
know what wearing down you're doing. And that's what after a while is I practice for the sake of practice, not to get anywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
that's I wore down the expectation I had about something doing this.
Sure.
And then eventually it became obvious that it was reality doing it, not a person. And that was more wearing down. Yeah. So that's
Interesting.
what, I try to point to here.
Well, thanks for sharing that. It's great to hear.
Yeah. I did tons of different practices.
Yeah.
Tons.
Yeah, I know. I know you were.
Yeah.
You've always impressed me with the earnestness. Um, yeah.
Well, I was a hardcore seeker is what it was. And I was in hell
Exactly. Well, that's
for
fine.
most of
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
I
It
was
comes
I
in
was
lots
like
of different.
really
It comes in lots of different shapes and colors, right?
yeah. That's why I try to point hard at Kara because the way Kara talks about it is the way I talked about it. So I really try to point things at her like, oh, look at this, because we were slightly different flavors, but I recognize the way she frames it is the way I framed it, and it drove me bonkers. So I've always tried to point at her like, okay, don't just relax. Jack, do you mean to raise your hand again, or was that an accident?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about the focus practice. I was wondering, I kind of have been feeling like I've just not like I'm trying to stay present all through the day, just pay attention to the feels in my body and then just,
Mhm.
but I'm kind of wondering if like maybe my attention's been a little too scattered. I don't know. I feel like just, yeah, like where I'm not sure. And I was like, when you said you went, like, it's almost like I'm asking, is there something really simple that I could just hone in on for a while? Just make it,
The ocean of aliveness.
yeah.
While you're,
Okay.
I got a video that's coming out tonight at midnight. That's about
Oh,
stillness. So that would be a
okay.
good one. But still, the
Yeah.
stillness one that I talked to practice in there, or the ocean aliveness practice while you're in the classroom and you're, try to
Yeah.
spread out your
I,
awareness to the whole classroom. And then as the teacher's teaching or talking, just try to notice the other sensations that are happening,
okay.
like the air and
Y-
the air conditions on, or your feel of the touching the desk or your feet on the floor. Try to spread that out more. Don't pinpoint it down to like the sensations of your feet on the floor. Just feel all
Right.
the energies of the room, basically. Every
Okay.
sensation, all the energies, and like your beingness, your aliveness that's there. That's not
Yeah.
thoughts, that's not emotions, that's not body sensations. It's like an electrical field feeling.
Yeah.
Try to
Okay.
swim, try to
Cool.
swim in that, like you're underneath and it's covering everywhere. You're spreading it out. That's a kind
All
of a
right.
form of concentration too, but it's like relaxed concentration.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I noticed like in class, especially like I've been like I can feel it in my face again, like where I'm
Hmm.
just like, oh shit, I'm resisting, and then like it's I've been having to
Well,
try and
just do
like
like
drop
what I
back into
said.
it.
Am I meditating or am I trying to meditate? Say, am I
Yeah.
practicing or am I trying to practice? And then just notice that and then just relax. Just let it
Yeah.
leak out, leak out of your jaw, leak out of your face into that
Cool.
ocean of aliveness.
Yeah.
Keep spreading it
Awesome.
out. Yeah.
All right. I'll get on it. Thanks.
Cool. Alrighty, y'all. That was fun. I like doing these at night. There's something different about them. More relaxed, I think. People seem to like it.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that
Thank
I'll
you very much,
100%.
Tony.
I'm not sure I'll 100% do it every weeknight, every night of the, or, every week. But I'll just keep it going. There may be some nights I can't do it, but
Yeah. Oh, they're good. It's other than like being a little bit more tired, it's easier for me to relax. Sometimes in the
or maybe it
morning,
makes
I just have this.
our minds are a little less
Yeah.
grabby too while we're doing this stuff. That might be good.
Good job,
Yeah, it's a
everybody.
different feel. It's
That was
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Good to see everyone.
Bye,
All right.
everyone. Nice to see
Thanks,
you.
Bye.
y'all.
Good luck out there.
Okay.
Bye,
See ya.
everyone. Thanks, Tony.
See ya.
All right.
Thanks, Tony.
All right. See ya.